how to fish, or teach them how to agriculture, and teach them how to grow to how do you say manage their animals, and have a good supply of self-sustaining way of life. And there's other people who just do nothing and be like, hey, why are they so rich and we're broke? That's because they're following the right procedure, and you're over here just want to rob and steal from people. If you did your right procedure, there was no reason to rob and steal from them, because you're doing it right. You're doing the same thing they have. So you have your own making your own stuff, doing your own things, and then that allows you to barter with them, and then even grow richer, and who knows, then they will join you and you become bigger, better, smarter, stronger, as opposed to we don't have, they have, let's conquer them. And that's one of the reasons that people do have lines, because they know that whole society is all screwed up and your society is right, so they don't want you in their section because your way is all screwed up. But the people that are doing right should at least make an attempt to help the poor, because everything is related. So if my neighbor is going hungry and I'm doing well, I should at least make the attempt to help him, to show him the way as well. I don't have to do everything for him, because that's not the way it's going to go down. But if he wants to continue in that spiraling wrong way, then he'd have to be rejected off of the reasons for the, what do you call that, like boundary lines between one state or another. But if we all follow the human instruction and follow the same code, we all benefit. So you can have all these cars that are giving you problems, and people in the companies, or even your own partner. So you figure your partner is good. So you need to know, is your partner actually helping you or hurting you at any time? And you will know that quickly. And not like, some people, what they do is they like to slap you with one hand and give you flowers with another. Never apologize. Slap you with another hand. Others, they'll give you problems, and then they'll try to give you a gift. They'll never say they're sorry. They'll give you problems, and then they'll give you some kind of gift. They'll try to do something nice for you. But never say, I'm sorry. Never apologize. And this will allow you to say, oh, he's not such a bad guy, but he's not really a good guy, when they're actually playing confusion against you in order to control you and manipulate you by doing bad, good, as opposed to someone who's always bad, and then you'd be like, forget it, or somebody who's always good. So some people also say, forget it too, because there's somebody else who's more deceptive, will play the bad good on them because they're ignorant and they're playing wrong, and then later on say, damn, I should have stayed with that nice guy, that cool ass guy before, because he was giving me a hookup, and I had a better life. But what they say, some people don't learn unless it's too late. You don't miss the water till the well runs dry. So they may agitate you in that sort of way. They attack you, and then they run, and then they may give you gifts, and then attack you, and then they run. Some people just really attack and run. Again, they call him the Lord of the Flies. They call Beelzebub the Lord of the Flies. He's just annoying. And there's negative feedback, where they redirect everything in a negative way. Negative reinforcement, where they try to make you do what they want by whipping you, or that ain't gonna work. That's just gonna make people angrier, and someday they're gonna catch you and whip you too. But some people kowtow, especially the good people, and some of the truly righteous good people be like, no, I'm not gonna kowtow. You either gotta kill them, or you just gotta keep whipping them. And so they keep whipping you and keep whipping you and keep whipping you, and you're still good, and you're still good. Eventually, some people learn. They be like, don't you stop whipping that man. Leave him alone. Or that woman. Don't you leave them alone and stop doing that. And then some of them will wait till you get old. And then when you get old, now they become stronger and you become weaker, because you ain't going to stay young and healthy. Eventually, your time's going to run out. And some people will take that as an advantage. Even the person that you have whipped for many years, they're going to be like, because every day you're getting more older. And you get to sow what you reap. So you keep whatever you be so good and bad comes on you, it was never deserved. But if you're so bad, and when that bad comes on you, it's no worse feeling to say, it's time for the devil to get his due. It's time for him to collect your soul. And it's time for you to actually awaken to the reality of working energy. Some people will say, "Oh, if God was so good, why is there a hell?" Because God does not allow evil people to hurt the most vulnerable of people, and therefore not continue the positive, becoming better, smarter, stronger, better, smarter, stronger, and to feel that euphoric love that we can feel here on earth, but we come short because of these people that continue on this negative path and this negative reinforcement. Therefore, they're going to hell not because a loving God wants them to suffer. They're going to hell because they reject love and they only want evil and hypocrisy. So if you only want evil and hypocrisy, then you're going to live by the law that you have created. Therefore, you sow and you reap. So, I'm in hell now because in this world, the gentle rain falls on the good and the bad to show you how good God is. But when you go to the brick, meaning Lucifer or Satan at his worst, and you're going to see where the crap stops and reality really kicks in for all those thousands of choices that you made over your lifetime, solidifying this is who you are. You made this choice, you made this choice, you made this choice, you made this choice. It's going to go on for a while in your life review. In the Egyptian understanding, they would weigh you with the feather of truth, get you the feather of truth. But at some time, you're going to have what you call unless you're really good, then you go right up. But if not, you're going to show you life review. And it's just going to be embarrassing for you unless you say nothing, because the devil's coming to make us do it. He's coming to collect your soul the very second you pass on, and to say, oh, we got him. And they don't care what you say. They're dragging you over there. Unless some people they're just so wicked, they just fall right in there, because negative energy is heavy energy and positive energy is light energy. So you yourself sink by your own energy. I mean, if you talk in hell, you might be able to ask to speak to someone, and they'll give you like a day in court. But that's going deeper. That's in another subject. Well, again, everything is. But I just want to show you how everything is related. Nothing that you do and you think that's not related. Everything has a correlation in this world, and it's how this very structure and power exists in your life. So, again, there's negative reinforcement. There's negative staining. That's when a negative when they create an area around you, whether it be a biological, a bad environment, let's put it that way, and rather than attacking you directly, but attacking you around you, and the subject can be clearly seen against that person that they're attacking indirectly. There's a negative transfer in which taking an anger of someone else, again, the projecting. Basically, it's a negative projection. Negativism, that's it, negativism, seeing things in the worst light. That's what we described that before. And pessimistic. Pessimistic is a habitual skeptic. And neglect is to fail to give the proper teaching or require an attention that somebody or someone needs, or failing to do so. But some people use it as an excuse, saying, "Oh, I don't hit my child." Therefore, they allow them to say and do whatever, and which creates a spoiled child, which that's direct neglect. That's you're not feeding and teaching this child, and you're causing pain for that child and everyone else around them. And using a pretext like not hitting their child. Nobody asked you to hit their child. We asked you to correct your child and train them and teach them in such a way. Like the African proverb goes, it takes a village. So it's just the negative feedback, again, constantly being negative, disagreeing, negative projected directly. That's just straight right in there in your face, name calling, stuff like that. So that's some of what they continue. Just it's all negative behavior. It's seen. It's overtly seen, but they try to be, how do you say, try to do it in such a way that it's not overtly noticed. And again, they can do that through just sounds, body language, symbols, and they can relate it to time. So if you've got an important meeting later on, somebody may talk to another person talking about your meeting, or you think it's their meeting, but it sounds a lot like you. And they say it in such a way that it's angry, but they're really talking to you. It's indirectly communicating with you. It does exist. It always has exist. People say anything otherwise, they're deceiving you. But always remember there's a void. So if somebody says black, there's a white. If somebody says white, there's a black. So the void, you know, has been told ahead of time. So you know that if somebody does take a counter to any something, just listen to it, and it must follow the reasoning and logic. Otherwise, you could see the deception and lies right through their mouth, and even the energy that accompanies it. As Christ says, you can hear the truth and know who is saying what by just knowing the truth. And he says when he calls his people will know him by what's coming from his mouth. You will know the truth that he has said, and which evil knows the truth as well. And that's one of the problems, because they don't want the truth known, especially when it comes to them. And again, many of us have been deceived. So there's a lot of people out there doing negative things that they once they realize and their eyes awaken, they was like, yeah, man, I'm just gonna give this up because this is going nowhere fast. And once you follow the full human instruction and you get the full code, then you'll be like, So I'm gonna give it to the full code, and once you follow it, the true enlightenment will follow as well. So the negative has one objective, and that's for you to be negative with the 360 degrees of negativities, and that's their whole playbook. So their actions will follow the definition of a negative. So whatever the definition is of a negative, rude or obnoxious, that's their behavior. And also their face language, the body language, or the kinesics. So they can use anything, whether it be food, again, whether it's too much food, too little food, poverty, the prisons, or making you suffer in one way or another, following a negative time, negative rhythm, negative objective, negative patterns, anything seen, said, or done. And that's their continuous, unbalanced, anti-subjects, because their objective is the negative, it's not the objective. The objective is always simple. This plus this equals that. But they're saying this plus this plus this plus this plus this does it. And they say it does equal that, but when the procedure falls for 4 steps, they're going to make it 12. So instead of paying 2 people to do something, they'll pay 50 people. Or instead of paying the 50 people to do something, they'll pay 2 people. So their objective is always the negative, not the objective. Again, use anything seen, said, or done can be used. Kids, marriages, employment, the weather, medicine, used in a negative fashion, negative manner, in order to create more negatives. So negative state of being is abnormal, but for them it is normal. teaching them correctly as opposed to teaching correctly and never learning but regurgitating like a dog throwing up, eating its own vomit over and over again. As the seeds fall on different soils and some flourish while others perish. So it's a 12 negative, meaning they gain the majority through ignorance. We'll go through all that, and that's still deciphering and finding out exactly who you're talking to, and it's revealed over time. Again, this versus that, man versus woman, healthy versus unhealthy, customer versus client, rich versus poor, employer versus employee, evil versus good, wrong versus right, tall versus short, hate versus love, black versus white, one race versus another, one tribe, it's correctly stated, one language versus another language, fat versus skinny, one eye color versus another color, one eye shape versus another eye shape, the calm versus the erratic person, the impatient versus the patient person, and if you're above, they go below. If you're below, they are above. Notify contradiction, and filling in the void to divide. All negatives are argumentative, multiple, continuous over time. They are consistently inconsistent. To continuously argue with you, to exhaust you mentally, physically, and acting like they don't understand you, and using all this confusion. Again, it's consistently inconsistent, but the positive is not the problem. So therefore, you only see the continuous negative, but they're using both in order to keep the game at play for you to be in a state of confusion. So you can hold the conversation using they use countless of negatives in order to condition you into conversations, into the media, into their actions, their understanding, and many of them don't even know exactly what's going on. So therefore, they'll fight to keep that system, which they don't understand. But if it's cleared, then they can argue, but then they'll be. It's like the difference between somebody arguing who is rich and somebody who has everything taken away from him and arguing because he's poor. So even when the negative are good, they'll still be negative, even though they have everything. And when everybody benefits, even the negative will benefit unless he starts to be negative, then he in turn needs to be taught. Otherwise, he's going to continue on, which continues the problem, which allows people to live in neighborhoods, and it'll be a bad neighborhood which most people don't want to get out in because they're caught up in this negative mindset. But once they overcome it and understand how things work, they'll be happy to go out and deal with these negative people, regardless if they're acting a fool. Because sometimes the greatest killers are the coolest people. An example I give, I know this one guy. Well, he wasn't a true killer, but he made. One time I seen one guy clown like 20 guys, and this was be tough guy gangster. But the one guy was a stone cold. Let's just say that if he said he'd take you out right there, he'd take you out. So there was all these gangster guys being all tough, but when he came there, they were all quiet and I got there, and I know those guys was really tough. Well, not tough, but they try to act intimidating towards others. So I was like, I wonder why they're so nice. And then he comes out of nowhere. Oh man, you could feel the fear and the hate, and you could feel the negative energy coming out of him with every word. He would talk in such a way that's real expressive, so you could feel his energy, and he was the kind of guy that he could go from 0 to 100 and snap you out real quick, and everybody was afraid to talk to him. I come right up to him, hey, what's crack-a-lackin', kid, what's going on? And I seen the problem. I was like, man, relax, kid, you're okay, nothing's wrong, nobody trying to hurt you here, just take a couple breaths, and just a few minutes, and he sort of got a little agitated with me, but after a few minutes, he was calm, he was relaxed. Then those guys started coming out, oh yeah, blah blah, they're trying to act tough, but then it wasn't acting too tough because probably the second I leave it, he gets back around to the way he was before. They'll go back hiding in their corners because he's what they call an honest negative. And an honest negative isn't going to manipulate you and try to get you to be afraid and then just actually try to look like he's gonna hurt you but not hurt you. Some people they're like barking dogs, but then once you tell them to shut up or whatever, they're just a puppy, just didn't have no direction. So he wasn't no barking dog. He was a biter dog. And so the biter dog is an honest negative. He just straight up, hey, yo, man, back off. He's going to tell you once. I know one guy, he doesn't even yell. He's just real, he whispers. But nobody